Growing up in the suburbs, summertime always felt like it belonged to kids. School was gone, the days stretched longer than they should have, and the streets felt alive in a way they never did during the rest of the year. But more than anything else, summer meant one sound: the ice cream truck. Specifically, Mr. Softee. Even now, decades later, if I hear that familiar tune echoing faintly through a neighborhood, something tightens in my chest before I can stop it. Back then, though, it was pure magic. As a very little kid, the song alone was enough to pull me out of whatever I was doing. The moment it drifted through the open windows, I'd bolt upright like my name had been called. I'd beg my mom for a few dollars, sometimes even change scraped together from couch cushions, and sprint outside barefoot, waving my arms like my life depended on it. The truck was a promise: sugar, color, freedom. One of the first times I was ever left home alone, I think I was about 7 years old. My mom was out somewhere, and my dad had the day off. He was always the less responsible one, the type who thought a few minutes didn't really count. I was planted in front of the TV watching SpongeBob, legs crossed on the carpet, when I heard it. That song. It floated in through the open windows, tinny and cheerful, bouncing between houses like it was looking for me. I didn't even think. I ran into the kitchen, dragged a chair over to the counter, and climbed up to reach the little basket on the ledge. It always had stray coins and the occasional dollar bill. I grabbed what I could, $1 and some loose change, and bolted outside, just as the truck slowed to a stop at the curb. The man inside leaned out the window. He was older, maybe late 50s or early 60s, with gray hair and a face that looked permanently creased into something between a smile and a squint. He asked me what I wanted, and I proudly ordered a specialty cone like I always did. He counted my money slowly. Too slowly. Then he told me I was a little short. I remember my stomach dropping. I told him I didn't have any more money because my parents weren't home. I didn't even think about why I was saying that. I just wanted the ice cream. He paused, looked at me differently. "You're home alone?" he asked, like he was confirming something important. I nodded. His whole demeanor changed, his voice softened. He told me it was okay, that it happens, and then he smiled wider and said something that still echoes in my head. "Why don't you come inside the truck and make your own cone?" At 7 years old, that sounded like winning the lottery. I climbed inside without hesitation. The door slid shut behind me, the sound loud and final, and he told me to help myself. Machines hummed softly, the air smelled overwhelmingly sweet. He said he was going to show me how to be an ice cream man. Then he got into the driver's seat. The truck started moving. At first, I thought this was all part of it. I was pouring soft serve into a cone, laughing to myself, feeling special. But after I finished and started licking melted ice cream off my fingers, I realized something felt wrong. We were still driving, too long. I walked toward the front to ask him where we were going. That's when his voice changed again. "Go stay in the back," he said, stern now, not friendly at all. I did what he told me. I didn't want to upset him, but my excitement drained away, replaced by something cold and heavy in my stomach. The truck turned off a busy road onto a quiet residential street. The music stopped playing. The engine got louder as he sped up. Eventually, the truck stopped in front of an abandoned-looking building. Peeling paint, broken windows. He told me to come with him. Before I could move, there was a sharp tapping on the side of the truck. Then, a voice. A familiar one. It was my neighbor, Margie. She was yelling through the crack of the door, her voice panicked and angry. The man opened the door, and Margie didn't hesitate. She grabbed me by the arm and yanked me out of the truck, telling me to get into her car and stay there. I watched through the windshield as she screamed at the man. He didn't argue. He slammed the door and sped off. This was before cell phones. Margie ran to the nearest house and used their phone to call 911. I didn't fully understand what had happened until much later. All I knew was that I was shaking. The police came. My dad came home to flashing lights and officers asking questions. Later I was told the truck was found, the man arrested, and that he went to prison. My parents never told me his name. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't want me to know. For years after that, I couldn't hear an ice cream truck without feeling sick. You'd think that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Up until I was about 28, I lived with my parents in Camden, Maine, a quiet rural boat town where nothing ever seemed to happen. My parents were hardly home, always working or traveling, so I spent a lot of time alone. Their property was large and private, surrounded by trees, far from the road. When they weren't home, I'd sometimes throw small parties. One summer night, I had maybe 15 or 20 people over. We drank, laughed, hung out in the backyard until around 11. By midnight, everyone was gone, and I was exhausted, sunburned, drunk, and ready to pass out. I changed and climbed into bed. That's when I heard it, an ice cream truck, at midnight. But it wasn't playing a tune I recognized. This one sounded wrong, slower, warped, almost mocking. It got louder and louder until it felt like it was right outside. I waited, expecting it to fade away. It didn't. I went downstairs and looked out the living room window. There was an ice cream truck on the lawn. Not on the driveway, on the grass. Less than 100 feet from the porch. It wasn't a normal truck either. It looked like a white van with faded ice cream pictures slapped onto the sides. The headlights were off. The music kept playing. I paced the living room, heart racing, trying to decide what to do. Call my dad? The police? Just wait? Finally, I stepped outside onto the porch. The night air felt wrong, too quiet. I walked a little closer, barefoot on the grass. That's when I realized there was no one in the driver's seat. The side door was open. Every instinct screamed at me. I ran back inside and locked the door, then called 911. The operator told me to check the house, to make sure everything was locked. The back door wasn't. The glass panel was shattered. I whispered this into the phone. She told me to find a room with a lock and hide. I locked myself in the bathroom. A moment later, someone tried the doorknob. Then they banged on the door 3 times. The operator heard it, told me to stay quiet. Then the back door slammed shut. The ice cream music faded away. The police arrived far too late. Whoever it was, they were gone. I never found out who was in that van, but I know there was more than one of them. The last time was when I was even younger, 6th grade. People called me Jimmy back then. There was an ice cream truck that came down my block every day in the warmer months. The driver's name was Bernard. He knew my name, I knew his. He'd slow down in front of my house, sometimes even wait for me. I always got the same Oreo ice cream cup. Sometimes he'd give it to me for free. One Friday my parents were going away for the weekend. I told Bernard I'd have the house to myself. He seemed surprised, told me I was lucky. That night, past midnight, I heard his truck, not approaching, just suddenly there. Outside my house. The music stopped, the lights went out. Then Bernard appeared at my window, calling my name. He told me to come outside, promised me all the free ice cream I wanted. His movements were erratic, his voice wrong. When he tried to force my window open, I screamed. He ran. Bernard never came back after that. But to this day, anytime I hear an ice cream truck, my body remembers before my mind does, because some songs aren't meant to be comforting, some are just bait.